Joined now by Greg Swenson, pitching coach and assistant coach for the Cougars. And Greg, taking a look at the weekend series against Arizona State, first of all, a couple of pretty good efforts from your starters on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, Tanner definitely gave us a great start. Anytime we can get through a game giving up, I think it was 3 hits and 2 runs to Arizona State, who's got a first rounder at shortstop, who's got a potential first, second rounder at second base, who's got a 3-year starter in center field, who's got guys all over the board that are, really good players. For him to keep us in the ball game to where, late it's just, we I believe had the tying run at the plate in the 8th and had a chance to win. So we'll take that any chance we get with a starter. And then with Joe, Joe did a good job also. He didn't get as deep in the game as Tanner, but also part of that element is just the fact that we had some pen available and we're willing to go to our pen. We maybe have left him out there. I think he was at 88 pitches going into the 7th, and his pitch count was kind of at 90 to 100, and I thought if we can go out there and just steal an out or two, we'd be great. But unfortunately that didn't happen, but then Camus came in and induced the ground ball, and we got out of that situation, so that was good.
Talk a little bit more about this, the depth of the staff. You have gone to the bullpen and mixed and matched a lot more than I can remember. And then also just how well the young guys have developed this year.
Well, the bullpens, going into the season was probably considered what would be our strength just because we had guys who'd been there before. Camus had pitched out of the pen. Drobnik had pitched out of the pen. Spencer Ochoa had pitched out of the pen. So we had no problems going to those guys. Now, the production maybe hasn't been as solid as it needs to be, and we discussed that Sunday after the series was over, that those guys need to pick it up a little bit. In regards to the development of the starters, JD's done a great job. He's just ran into a little bit of an injury bug that's it's not necessarily shut him down, but it's just kind of prevented him from being at full strength, and that's why Friday he wasn't able to complete his start. Tanner, same thing. He had the absence early in the season that kind of delayed his progress, but as he's been with us now and continued to run out there every week, he's done a great job of not only just physically getting stronger and developing his stuff, but also mentally understanding the grind that it is to play at this level, and that every hitter has a chance to leave the house in this conference, and so you just can't make a mistake to anybody. As evidenced by just in the Utah series, they had a 9-hitter who had 5 at-bats, and he leaves the house against Joe. So, and then Joe's the same thing. Joe's just got to be a little bit more diligent in his preparation as far as just, not necessarily during the week, but just during the off season. That delayed his progress a little bit. But all of them have done a great job as far as mentally and physically getting better throughout the season. Kyle Swanik is making some moves. We really haven't seen the production from him that I think we had hoped for coming in from being a guy who is so highly acclaimed out of the NWAC. But at the same time, we've also made a little bit of an alteration to his delivery that hopefully will pay off. Every time he's thrown the ball with the alteration in mind, he's made quality pitches and gotten outs. When he's reverted back to his old style, he's left balls up and got hurt. And so he knows it. It's easy to fix. It's easy to see. He's just got to be more conscious of it. And right now, with our rotation of being Kleberad and Joe on Saturday and then TBD on Sunday, hopefully it's Leck. We're just kind of seeing how he comes back with that leg, and then if not Leck, then I imagine it would be Swanik just because of his starts that he's had this year.
Your staff has induced a ton of ground balls. The Cougs lead the country in double plays per game. How much of that is how good the defense has been behind them, or how much of that is what your pitchers are doing to keep the balls down?
Well, I'd like to say it's the pitchers, but I truly believe it's just how good our defense has been. I mean, Patrick, Tommy, Ian, and Taylor have really been a solid foursome on the ground, and occasionally they'll bobble a ball and prevent the double play, but man, most of the time when that ball's hit and it's hit near them, they make the play. And I don't know, I remember a club in the Pac-12 years ago had a second baseman that could absolutely spin it really super quick, and I think Tommy Richards is right there with that guy. There hasn't been many guys that I've seen in my 11 years that are able to catch, transfer, and throw on a dime the way he does from all positions, basically. Saggy's getting really good at, turning it in himself. He's getting stronger. we're a little bit of concern with him is just, how strong is he going to be as the season progresses. And he's gotten stronger. Then Pat's just been really, really solid at third base. I mean, that's not an easy position to play, especially against aluminum bats, and especially, with some arms that don't have great velo. That's a spot that, you're probably going to get some balls hit to you. And he's done a phenomenal job there. So as much as I like to think that it's, the pitchers maybe inducing the ground balls, I think we've induced ground balls before. I don't think our ground ball percentage is much different than in past seasons. I just think that that defense out there is really, really solid. And Taylor's really good at it too. He's really good at feeding the baseball to the shortstop and getting back. So I think it's a direct attribute to the fact that those guys can really just field it and transfer it really good.
I mean, looking down the stretch with 4 weeks or so left in the season, it seems like everybody that's left on the schedule conference-wise is somebody that's right around us in the standings, either right below us, right ahead of us. So obviously you got to win those series, but what needs to get done, maybe offensively, is it pitching? What needs to improve the most to kind of separate us a little bit from some of the other teams in the conference?
Yeah, we just got to win every game by 1 run, right? I mean, if they score 1, we've got to score 2. If they score 10, we've got to score 11. If they don't make any errors, we can't make any errors. If they make 1 error, we've got to make 0 errors. I don't think there's any real formula out there right now that says, like, if we do this, for sure we're going to win. That's not how baseball works. You can play a perfect game and lose. So the bottom line for me is we just got to have that fight in us that allows us to understand that when adversity strikes, which it will, we'll get behind in a game, or we'll get guys on base, or we'll get the first 2 batters of an inning out, but that the game doesn't end until the 27th out by the opponent is recorded. And so what are we going to do with each of those 27 outs? And can we be as productive as possible within each pitch and each at-bat within those 27 outs? If as an offense we can be very productive within each pitch and each at-bat, then we're going to put ourselves in a position to win. As a pitching staff, if we can make quality pitches each and every pitch, and even when we miss, have it be a good miss so that we can set the next pitch up, then we'll have a chance to hold the opponents down so that our offense has a chance to win. I'd like to think that there was a formula out there where if we scored X runs, and then we have this percentage of chance to win. If we go this far, we have this percentage of chance to win. And no doubt there's probably statistics that support that. But I just believe at this point in the year it's just going to come down to the old cliche, will over skill. And our guys have to battle through some adverse situations, which is going to happen probably Friday night when we play Cal. They're a good program that just went to Omaha. They're going to come in here, thinking the same way, that we're just right by each other and we've got to do what we've got to do. We just got to find a way to outwill them and just find a way to, it doesn't matter how it gets done, so to speak. We'd like to play clean baseball. We'd like to do the process of playing the game the way Coach Marbett preaches it to the guys, no doubt about it. Bottom line is, though, what do we have to do to win the game? And each game delivers a different situation in order for that to happen. And I think as a fan of the game, as you are, I think you've seen that a lot. There's tons of ways to win the games, and there's tons of ways to lose the game. And if we play good baseball, that's going to give us the best chance to win. And I think that's all we're asking our guys to do, is just go out there and play the game right, play the game clean. And if we do, we'll have the best chance to win. If we don't, then we'll tip our hats to our opponent and walk away. And then, the best part about our sport is that we don't have to wait a week. We can show up the next day and try to right the ship.
And then last question for me is just, does this week present any kind of different challenges for you guys with finals, trying to just make sure that maybe you're not on the same schedule as we've had all season long?
Yeah, it does. I mean, first and foremost, we give them a couple days off to focus on finals. So, very rarely do we get 2 full days off in a row. So then, and what typically happens is that first day back, things are a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish. Guys are still kind of warped into, finals mode, and they're not really thinking about, my swing path or get my foot down or things like that. They're thinking about, the Pythagorean theory and stuff like that. So we got to challenge them and get back into the frame of mind of what baseball's all about. We're not around them. There's some guys that just aren't allowed to practice per NCAA rules because of some of the things that they do academically. And so sometimes it's not what it has been in the past. We kind of a couple years ago made a rule change. Coach Marbett implemented a rule change with guys that if they drop classes, they won't be eligible for the entire weekend, not just the first game or for the practice. And so that's kind of motivated guys a little bit more, where in the past they knew they could drop some classes, not practice all week, and then be rewarded by starting on Friday or Saturday. And that just didn't sit well with us as a staff. So we made some changes. guys have done a good job academically. Heather's helped them out a lot as far as making sure they're on track and getting their stuff done. And so we just gotta. It's a greater challenge because the guys aren't tuned into maybe the baseball part of it, but we don't want them to be tuned into the baseball part of it for a few days. We need them to focus on the academic side of things, because that's what we talk about all the time, is that we can't guarantee what your baseball career is going to bring to you when you become a Washington State Cougar, but we can guarantee that you get your degree if you stay on time and you stay on task. And that's the bottom line this week, is making sure. And we've got, I think, 5 or 6 seniors that are going to walk on Saturday. So that's another, challenge, because those guys are going to be in graduation mode on Saturday, and families are celebrating and having a great time. And then, come 7 or 5:30 on Saturday night, we've got to have them ready to play Cal, a good Cal team.